year without doing that robot, but I am going to do it for you today. Okay, so when God was trying to show me how selfish I was, I mean, I can remember waking up in the morning, laying in bed, and just thinking about myself. Honestly, like, Dave's going to watch that football game today. I wonder how I could get him not to do that and take me. And, the kids are going to wonder how I can get them to blah, blah, blah. And everything was like, what about me? What about me? What about me? And, boy, if I didn't get my way, then it was a big what about me party. And so as I was laying there in bed one morning thinking, it was almost like, I don't know if it was just God speaking to my heart or like a vision, but I mean, I just saw this. It's like he said, you know what you look like to me? He said, you lay here in the morning, and because you're not thinking about what you should be thinking about, the devil fills your mind full of all these thoughts about you. And see, sometimes the way we get started is the way the day goes. So how we get started in the morning is very important. So he said he fills your head with all these selfish thoughts, and it's just like he's coming and winding you up for the day. Like, what about me? What about me? What about me? And he said, then it's like you put your feet on the floor and you look to me like this little robot. What about me? What about me? What about me? What about me? Beep, beep. What about me? What about me? What about me? Now, you are the privileged few, because I don't do that much anymore. Your life is complete. He says his life is now complete. I would have never in my wildest imagination, when God spoke that to me, and I did it the first time, ever thought that I would get that much mileage out of that robot. I mean, you should see me when I'm in India and they want me to do the robot. I mean, it's like ridiculous. So I just wanted to be clear about what laying down your life is. Let's read verse 16 again. By this we come to know progressively, to recognize, to perceive, to understand the essential love that he laid down his own life for us, and we ought to lay our lives down for those who are our brothers in him. So go home and practice. And then the next verse talks about if we have this world's goods and we see our brother in need and we close our heart of compassion, how can the love of God live and remain in us? You see, for love to be healthy, it has to be moving. Do you understand that? It has to be moving. It has to be active. And so that's why it's so silly to just sit around and talk about how much we love each other, and then the first time that somebody needs help, and it's going to be an inconvenience, or it's going to take a little money that you got set aside for yourself. Well, what about me? See, you've all got a little robot in you. What about me? What about me? I think I could sell little robots. We wind them up. Hey, listen. This is no easier on my flesh than it is on yours, but I will tell you something. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. Amen. I don't wake up in the morning now and think about myself. When I wake up now, the first thing I do is start talking to the Lord, and I don't have my eyes open very long, and I start asking God to show me what I can do for somebody else today, because I'm determined that I'm going to enjoy my life and be happy, and that's the only way that I can do it. Okay, now 1 John 4, 7 and 8. These are big. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and he who loves his fellow man is born of God, and is coming progressively to know and understand God, to perceive and recognize and get a better and a clearer knowledge of him. So if God is love, the more I learn about love, the more I learn about him. The more I learn to walk in love, the more I know how he behaves and what he would do. God is love. It's not just something that he does. He who does not love has not become acquainted with God, does not and never did know him, for God is love. Wow. All right, I'll read it one more time. Let me put it plainer. If we don't walk in love, then we don't know God. Period. All right, now, man, what in the world am I going to preach tonight? I'm still in my first message. How much time I got on? I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, verse 1. Now, Solomon was a guy who had everything, tried everything, and still, you'll see here in a minute, he actually says, I hated life. I hated life. And that's kind of what we're trying to get at here this week is how can you live a life that you love? How many of you want to love your life? All right. Well, see, a lot of you probably think, well, there's no way you can do that if you don't get a different life. And there may be some things that you need to change that could help. But by and large, what I'm telling you today is what gives any life quality. And it doesn't really matter how long we live. It's how well we live that really makes a difference. Come on now. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. And we get overly concerned about how long we're going to live. And we've got all these formulas for how we can stay happy and live a long time. But the point is how well are you living? Jesus only lived 33 and a half years. Wow, look at what he did. It's still going on and on and on and on today. And that's what I want. I want to live a quality life where I can leave a legacy for people that where they'll still be benefiting from my life when I'm gone. Amen? And yes, I have little spells like everybody else. Man, I don't like this work and give out to other people. And, I'm so tired. I need. All right, Ecclesiastes 2, we're going to read 11 verses. You think you can handle it? I want you to notice how many times Solomon says, I and myself. I said in my mind, come now, I will prove you with mirth and test you with pleasure. So have a good time, enjoy pleasure. But this also was vanity and emptiness and falsity and futility. So he said, I just made my mind up. I was just going to find everything I could possibly do that would be enjoyable, and it ended up being useless. I still wasn't really happy. I said of laughter, it's mad, and of pleasure, what does it accomplish? I searched in my mind how to cheer my body with wine, yet at the same time holding my mind and having it guide me with human wisdom, and how to lay hold of folly until I might see what was good for the sons of men to do under heaven all the days of their life. Now, watch this. I made great works. I built myself houses. I planted vineyards. I made for myself gardens and orchards, and I planted in them all kinds of trees. I made for myself pools of water from which to water the forest.